welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I have two new collections to share with you all from the brand ILNP. ILNP is starting out fall very strong with two collections, one in their studio color line and the other in their regular boutique effects line. In the boutique effect line, we have the Vineyard collection, which is 6 jelly polishes with holographic flakes. In the studio color line, we have the Campground collection, which features 4 cream polishes. If you are new to the brand, ILNP is a US-based boutique brand. Their polishes are in 12 ml bottles. They are 7-free, cruelty-free, as well as being vegan-friendly. Both of these collections launch this Friday, August 30th on the ILNP website, which I will of course have linked down below. All of the polishes in today's video were gifted to me by ILNP to share with you all in PR. This video is not sponsored, and thank you very much to ILNP for sending these over to me. Before we get into this video, I just want to give a really quick thank you to everyone. We hit 8,000 subscribers here on the channel. Like, what? I don't even know what to say. Thank you. That's what I'll say. I'll say thank you. Thank you all so freaking much. It blows my mind. And I know I say this every single time, but like it honestly truly does blow my mind that over the past 3-ish years, 8,000 people said, yes, I'm subscribing to the foolishness. I'm just really appreciative and thankful. Like, seriously, you guys are absolutely amazing. So as always, in the description box, links to where you can pick these polishes up, links to the brand's social media pages, my social media pages, and of course, timestamps are down there as well. Let's get into this video. First up from the Campground collection, we have Truffle. ILNP describes this one as a blackened truffle cream. Truffle had a fantastic formula. On the first coat, it is a little bit uneven, slightly patchy. I found this one builds up really nicely in 2 to 3 coats. My full-in swatches are going to show Truffle in both 2 and 3 coats. I had a couple of nails that were fantastic in 2, then I had a couple of nails that I felt like I wanted to add a 3rd coat. So I'm going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on application style and your nail length. I found for me why I ended up doing a 3rd coat on some of my nails, but I felt like I could see a little bit of unevenness in the base towards the tips of my nails. I don't generally think of creams as being unique. In any given collection, creams are probably going to be the easiest things to do. That said, I feel like this shade of brown is very unique even to my own collection. It's a super dark brown that's definitely going to look black in low lighting. However, there's also seems to be just like the tiniest, and I mean like the most subtle of droplets of gray also in this one. I did not personally experience any staining with this polish, but I also had 2 coats of base coat on, so make sure to wear some base coat, people. This next polish is called Chocolate, and ILNP describes it as a chocolate brown. Chocolate also had a fantastic formula. This was one of the polishes in the collection for me that my bottle seemed to leak a little bit in transit. So my polish was like slightly on the thicker side. Not so thick that I had to add in any nail polish thinner to it, but I did end up having to clean the neck of my bottle a little bit. So I am going to attribute some of the overall thickness of this one to the fact that it leaked a little bit in transit. With my warmer undertones, I did not find that this polish at all warmed up my hands to make me look like I have lobster hands. And me at least, I found this lean more towards the cool to neutral end of the spectrum rather than warm. So that is Chocolate in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. This next polish is called Treetop, and ILNP describes it as being a moss green cream. Treetop also had a fantastic formula. I don't know why, but I was really struggling to paint my nails the day I was recording these live swatches. So if you're wondering why I'm completely missing my nail more than usual,
I am having a very bad day.
That would be why. This is one of those shades of greens that I did not like for a very long time, and now I absolutely love it. I look at this shade of green and my mind immediately goes to like camouflage, so I definitely see where they were going with calling this a moss green. This was a solid 2 coater on me. I don't really see too many people needing to go for 3 coats unless you have exceptionally long nails. All of the creams in this release dry down fairly glossy on their own, but my full-in swatches show all of them with glossy top coat. The final polish in the Campground collection is called Mushroom, and ILNP describes this as a mushroom taupe cream. Mushroom also had a fantastic formula. The base did not feel overly thick or thin, and I had 0 application issues. This applied so nicely. I honestly expected it to be a little bit streaky, mostly because it is such a light color, but I did not find it to be streaky at all. I found Mushroom to cover really nicely for me in 2 coats. I don't foresee too many people actually needing 3 coats for this one unless you have exceptionally long nails. I found on me Mushroom leaned very neutral. This one does dry down just slightly darker than it initially applies. I didn't even catch it when I was doing my full-in swatches, but I noticed it dries down darker when I was doing my live swatches, but I don't find that to be atypical for a taupe cream anyway.
Hey everybody, I have an announcement to make. f***ed up real bad.
Hi, editing Nicole here. So a couple of things first. This next part of the video might get a little bit confusing. Largely because I have been recording the voiceovers for 3 separate days, so when I started voiceovers and when I ended voiceovers were on completely different days, and how I felt about these polishes changed throughout those couple of days. When I first started voiceovers, I thought I had gotten a bad batch of polish and that several of these just were not applying very well.
Hate it, hate it, hate it.
So much so that I had contacted ILNP and they sent me over replacement bottles. While waiting for the replacements to arrive, I recorded my live swatches. I don't usually use base coat when I record live swatches. However, because I had such issues recording my full hand swatches, I decided to use base coat while I was recording my live swatches. I used the Orly Bonder base coat for just some context. And I did not experience the same level of application issues doing the live swatches that I did doing the full hand swatches. And that's when it dawned on me that the issues that I was having might have been my base coat. So when the replacement bottles arrived and I tested those out and those were also fine, that's when it cemented in my mind that yes, my issue was my base coat this whole time and not the polishes themselves.
I'm a dumb. What the?
So all that is to say is that I did not in fact redo my voiceovers or redo all of my swatches after finding out this information. After having a very bad month, I'm trying to get back on my normal posting schedule and I would not be able to do that if I did all of that. So I am so sorry if this video is in any way confusing because I am also confused. So across the board for all the polishes that are coming up, formulas I'm gonna say are fantastic. The only difference between these polishes is the base colors and the level of pigmentation within each polish, but formulas on all of them are all the same and all fantastic. I am so sorry for the upcoming confusion. My options were basically either post this or have another week of no videos. So yeah, I am sorry. I am not well and I'm sorry. So you know, enjoy the video. Next up from the Vineyard collection, we have Rosalie. ILNP describes this one as a rosy pink holographic jelly nail polish. Like the majority of people who watch this channel on a regular basis know exactly where my mind went when I saw the name of this polish.
Is she even Italian?
Rosalie is one of the polishes in this release that I had a little bit of trouble with. I found it applied very uneven. I kind of expected it to apply unevenly on the first and second coats just because like it's a jelly with flaky, so I figured it would be kind of uneven. However, when I was doing my full swatches as well as my live swatches, I found that even when built up in 3 coats, the base still looked very uneven on me. I know sometimes with jellies, if you don't apply it super evenly, you will have some dark spots on the nail just where you have a little bit more polish in one spot over the other. But I just had a really hard time on the entire nail getting like even coverage, to the point where when I was doing my full hand swatches, I actually re-swatched this one because I thought maybe I miscounted how many coats that I did, that maybe I did 2 coats rather than 3 coats. No, it was just surprisingly patchy on me after 3 coats. I did contact ILNP about this issue because I thought maybe I had a batch issue. They did send me some replacement bottles which should be arriving sometime tomorrow. Also, to cover my bases, I also used a different base coat when I was recording my live swatches, so I did find that this applied a lot better over a regular base coat than I found from my peel off base coat. But again, I'm still not sure if it's the peel off base coat that was the issue or if I had a batch issue with the polish. This next polish is called Countryside, and ILNP describes it as being an olive green holographic jelly nail polish. I had a similar issue with Countryside as I did with Rosalie, but since I just went in depth with Rosalie, I'm just gonna not say all that all over again. Countryside had a pretty good formula. This one is another one that you do need to build up to get some kind of opacity going. I found for all of the polishes in the Vineyard collection, unless you want to go in for 4 coats, you will not be able to get full opacity with any of these. You will have visible nail line with all of them. I chose to build Countryside up in 3 coats. I have a little bit of overall unevenness in the overall base color. I was trying really hard here in the live swatch to try to even out the overall base color on this one, but I kind of overworked it and somehow managed to make it look worse. I found this one to just be really uneven on me, and again, I'm not sure if it was my base coat, if I got a batch issue. It was just very uneven, and I was honestly really bummed out about it because this was the polish I was most looking forward to trying from the release. I do believe that ILNP used a holographic flake for all of the polishes in this release, so none of the holographic in here is going to dry down textured or be overly difficult to remove. This next polish is called Merlot, and ILNP describes it as a Merlot red holographic jelly nail polish. Remember earlier when I said I was really struggling getting live swatches done? This is a perfect example of that. I accidentally created a bald spot there on that first coat. Thankfully, I do think this one evens everything out by the time I get to the third coat, but just be aware I did create a bald spot on the first coat. I found Merlot applied a bit more evenly than the previous two polishes. I do still think it's a 3-coater, and that's mostly just because the third coat deepens up the base color. This is one of those jellies that the color you see in the bottle is not really the color you get on your nails. You can see here in the full hand swatch how much darker the polish looks in the bottle as opposed to on my nail. Because this is a jelly, you could add a 4th coat if you wanted to darken up the base color even more. I am personally morally opposed to adding 4 coats.
No. Don't like that.
I found on me in 3 coats, this is a very jewel toned red shade, but in the bottle it looks close to maybe an oxblood. I thought for sure that this was going to be a stainer, but I did not personally experience any staining. I would, however, suggest if reds tend to stain you to definitely double up on your base coat. As this polish has holographic flakes, it will not be overly difficult to remove. And now we have Honeymoon, which ILNP describes as a juicy, deep berry holographic jelly nail polish. Much like the other jellies in this release, this one starts off a little bit sheer on that first coat, so you do need to build it up to get some more coverage going. And while Honeymoon did seem to have a bit more pigmentation in the jelly base, I do still think this is also going to be a 3-coater. Speaking as someone who isn't always the biggest lover of a berry base, I really enjoyed this one. The combination of the berry base paired with the holographic just made my eyes really happy. I did not have the issue with this one applying super unevenly for me. This is another shade where you don't get quite the same depth of color on the nail that you see in the bottle, which I will admit bumped me out a little bit. I was really looking forward to that super dark color. While I did not personally experience any staining with this polish, I would definitely still recommend wearing base coat or doubling up if your nails are particularly prone to staining. And now we have Grapevine, which ILNP describes as a Concord grape holographic jelly nail polish. Grapevine also had a really nice formula. This was actually one of the shades that I was really excited to try. I thought this shade of purple was really fun. And speaking of purple, I went back and forth several times trying to decide if I thought this was a true purple or if it was more in the indigo family. As of this moment right now, I'm going to keep it going that it's in the purple family and it's not in fact indigo. I think it's just a very cool toned purple, which is making me think it's indigo. I don't really think this has very much blue in it. Grapevine is probably the only polish in the entire collection that doesn't get the same depth of color on the nail that you see in the bottle that I'm actually happy that it doesn't, because I absolutely love the shade of purple that you get on the nail. I usually find for colors that look like this to be notorious stainers for overlays. I am currently wearing an overlay on my swatch hand, and I was absolutely shocked when I did not have a single bit of purple staining on my nails. As with all the other polishes in this collection, the holographic flakes in here do not dry down textured. Grapevine has enough pigmentation I found in 3 coats that your nail line isn't going to be as super obvious as some of the other polishes in this release. However, you will be able to see it if you look for it, especially in bright direct lighting. While removal will be very easy, I still would not recommend scrubbing this one off. Use the soak off method to try to help prevent any kind of staining. And the final polish in this release is called Hidden Path. The brand describes it as an orange mahogany holographic jelly nail polish. Hidden Path had a pretty good formula. This is another one of the shades that I found did not apply really great over my peel off base coat. So I have now come to the conclusion that the application issues that I was having when I was doing my full hand swatches for this release is coming down to the fact that I was using a peel off base coat, and I don't think these polishes apply great over the peel off base coat. When I was doing my full hand swatches, Hidden Path was one of the polishes that I was really struggling with getting an even application for. So much so that even after doing 3 coats, I convinced myself that I had only done 2 coats, so I added a 4th coat for my full hand swatches.
You what?
No, I spent this entire video saying how I refuse to do 4 coats, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did 4 coats. But my reasoning was this: I did not believe that it was possible that ILNP could release a nail polish that looked that bad in 3 coats. I refused to believe it because this is not the brand to releasing bad formulated nail polish. So I knew that there had to have been an issue on my end that would cause it to happen. So here is just a quick side by side of 3 coats on my thumb using a normal base coat, And then on my full hand swatch here is 4 coats over a peel off base coat. The only difference is the color. The color is a bit deeper in the 4 coats. So in the end, I was correct. The issue was me. It was not in fact the polishes themselves. So if you decide to pick any of these polishes up, I do not recommend pairing them with a water-based base coat. Just for some context, I was using the Holo Taco Peely base as my base coat. I tested out 4 different base coats while recording the live swatches, and I did not experience any of the issues that I had with the Peely base. Alrighty, so final thoughts time. As someone who genuinely really loves fall collections, I was so damn excited to see the color stories of these collections. One thing I am finding for ILNP is they always know how to do a damn good color story. As far as the Campground collection, I love how kind of dark and very like outdoorsy all the polishes look. I feel like these are very like nature-driven colors, which is very fitting for a Campground collection. Truffle and Treetop are going to be my top picks from the Campground collection. The only reason why Chocolate is not in my top picks is I feel kind of weird picking 3 top picks out of a 4 polish release, but I really did love all 3 of them. As far as the Vineyard collection, since this outro was recorded several days ago, my thoughts on this collection are completely different now than they were when I recorded this video. I really like the color story of this release. I feel like it's hitting all of the colors that I like the most in the fall, with the exception of not having a teal or a gray. Part of me kind of feels that I wish there was a bit more variety in the overall finish of the release, but I think because all of these are like slightly sheer jellies with holographic, that it also makes them more cohesive. Based on my own color preferences, I would probably go with Countryside and Hidden Path as my top picks from that release. As far as sale information goes, both the Vineyard collection and the Campground collections are going to be available Friday, August 30th on the ILNP website. For the first week of sales, all the polishes will be 10% off. Previewing is live on the ILNP website right now. Each polish is priced at $10 for a 12 ml bottle. The polishes in the Campground collection do feature a rounded paddle brush, and then the polishes in the Boutique Effects line have a more like, what are we calling that? Is that, we just calling it like square, flat? What are we calling that? I guess flat maybe? Also, by the way, if you are unfamiliar, all of their top coats, base coats, cream polishes, and jellies without any additional components added to them are in the Studio Color line. The Boutique Effects line are the polishes that we have all come to know and love from ILNP that feature like holographic, magnetics, shimmer, etc., etc. That's all in the Boutique Effects line. So I would love to know what everyone else thought of these releases. Are you planning on picking them up? Let me know. I'm always so curious to hear from you all. Before we end today's video, I do want to give a very special shout out to my channel members. Shenanigang, just thank you guys so much for the love and support. Your names, of course, all on the screen right now. Channel members, we have a special members only live stream happening this Friday. If you are not a channel member and you would like to be, there is a link for that in the description box, or you can click join next to the subscribe button. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. Truly hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again for subscribing to the channel. I hope everyone has a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brian. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah.